Hey guys, welcome to One on the Move. I'm Saqib.
Hang on. What are you doing?
I'm recording.
Have you seen yourself?
What do you mean? I know we are all on lockdown, but it's no excuse to live like a caveman or look like a caveman. That's better. Today I'm gonna go over my first Rolex purchase and how it came to be. And I'll also briefly touch on the recent news of Rolex, Patek, and a few other brands pulling out of Basel World and how Rolex pulling out affects my particular watch. I've also included a short review on this watch now that I've spent 4 months with it. So enjoy. Please do subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified when I drop my next video. Before we get into this video, a quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing my Omega Speedmaster Moon watch, the sapphire crystal exhibition case back. I prefer this over the Hazelite. So, the Submariner 114060 was the first Rolex I bought. Well, kind of. As I mentioned in my first video, I had put my name down for the Rolex Submariner with an AD in Dubai, and within 2 months they called me and said that they had a Submariner waiting for me. So I made the payment at the start of December last year, but I was only going to receive the watch in January when my sister was going to come down to visit me. So in that period, I bought the Rolex Explorer 16570, and that's why I say kind of, as the Explorer was the first Rolex I got my hands on literally, but the Submariner was the one I paid for first. For the sake of this video, I'll just consider the Submariner as my first Rolex. At the time of purchasing this sub, I already had a diver in my collection, the Omega Planet Ocean. But I wasn't so chuffed about this watch, as I mentioned in my first video. I knew that it wasn't going to last long in my collection, and I wanted to add a different diver to my collection. What other diver than the quintessential dive watch, the Submariner? The Submariner was first introduced in 1954. Now there is some debate as to which reference was the first sub, the 6200, 6204 or 6205. Although many people do agree because of the serial numbering that the 6204 was the first sub, and also because it was the first Submariner to be sold to the public. But let's not go down that rabbit hole. Upon its release, the Submariner was the first watch in the world that guaranteed water resistance to a depth of 100 meters. The initial design of the Submariner, along with all of its subsequent iterations, was done up with long-term functionality in mind. It is due to this approach to design that the current Submariners largely resemble the very first sub. It is a timeless design. Now, I'm not going to go over every single reference and iteration that followed, as I'm not a Submariner expert, and there are many videos out there that go over every single reference of the Submariner. Coming to my Submariner, the 114060, it was released after the discontinuation of its predecessor, the 14060M. The 116610LN, which is the current Submariner date version, was released 2 years prior to my no date version, and it was the first Rolex to feature the ceramic bezel that replaced the aluminum bezel. The 114060 no date version is essentially the same, minus the date window and a different caliber. Now many, including myself, were expecting and even predicting that the current Submariner reference would be discontinued at Basel World 2020. But because of the current crisis, Basel World was postponed to January of next year. And then the big news was dropped recently that 5 key brands would be pulling out of Basel World altogether: Rolex, Tudor, Patek, Chopard, and Chanel. And that they would work with FHH, which is a Swiss organization that promotes fine watchmaking, to stage their own show in April of next year. Now, where does this leave the expected discontinuation of the current Submariner references? no one can say. Now, spending 4 months with my Submariner 114060, I feel I can give a fair short review on it. I have cut it down to 3 categories: case and dial, functionality and variability, and the price. First, let's look at the case and dial. Like the other subs, it features a 40mm oyster steel case with a screw-down case back and trip-lock crown, which offers a 300-meter water resistance. And the unidirectional bezel is made with the super scratch-proof, fade and corrosion-resistant Cerachrome, which is Rolex's own ceramic creation. The bezel action on this watch is second to none. It's just so crisp. The dial, of course, is the clean, no date version. Some people prefer the date with the Cyclops when buying a sub, but for me, I prefer the clean proportions of the no date version. And also, this iteration resembles more the look of the Submariner's first versions. With regards to functionality and variability of this watch, it is a diver and definitely would function as one if one was to actually take it diving. The robustness of the case, the accuracy of the caliber 3130 automatic movement, which is of course COSC certified, all make it a very reliable dive watch. More important for me though is the variability and comfort, as I'm not using it for diving, bar the occasional dip in the pool or trip to the beach. This sub wears perfectly on my 6.9-inch wrist and is very comfortable. It also features the improved oyster bracelet with the micro adjustable clasp, which really comes in handy. The only small problem with this version, where it might be an issue for someone with a smaller wrist, is the maxi case. You would notice that the lugs on the 114060 are much more wider than the 14060. For me though, it's not such a big issue, and I don't mind them. I like to keep my sub on the oyster bracelet, but you can always swap it out, which I do occasionally, for a nice leather strap. The price of this watch at retail currently is Singapore dollars 10,600. I got it at retail, but as we all know, to get a Rolex sport model at retail is quite challenging. And the market price, if you can't get it at retail, is anywhere from 11,900 to 12,700. Now, whether the Submariner is worth $10,600 is a question that has no right answer, as some would argue that there are better watches out there with far more complex complications that would be cheaper than the sub. But as the owner of this beautiful piece, I can tell you that nothing would come close to the feeling of owning a Submariner. The heritage, the history, and the sheer quality of this timepiece is truly unrivaled when it comes to dive watches. But this is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the Rolex Submariner and if you would ever go for one. If you like this video, please hit the like button and also do follow me on Instagram at WineItOnTheMove. Until next time, cheers.